I was invited to an event, a very prestigious Eastern Suburbs event. Gorgeous building, gorgeous view. It's about 5 years ago. Now I'm a strategic connector, so going to events is my thing, and I was so excited. I thought, great, business leaders, community leaders, politicians, the lot. So I'm working the room, as I do, chatting with people, and the host came up to me and said, I'd like you to meet some people. And this is how it went. I'd like you to meet Amanda Rose. She's from Parramatta, but that's okay. Because she looks great, she's very educated, runs multiple businesses, and she's connected to some very powerful people. So essentially, I needed to get a tick of approval to be able to communicate for people outside my tribe. Of course, I went along with it. Thought, okay, can't believe this happened to me, but I'm going to go with the flow. I'm not going to lose the opportunity. And I started chatting with people and so forth. I didn't leave the event because I'm a grown-up and I thought I'm going to stay and persevere. But wait, it gets worse. Throughout the event, I was speaking with someone real deep in conversation and their colleagues turned up. They didn't want them to see that they were speaking with me. I was the token Western Sydney girl at this event and they were like, literally went, and turned their back on me completely. We're talking mid-conversation, mid-sentence. I will actually never forget standing there. I remember it to this day. I was standing there. I was so humiliated. I was talking to myself essentially with a back to me and I thought, is this actually happening to me? And I'm like, girl, it's happening. I'm like, okay. But I didn't leave because I'm a grown-up. And I thought, I can persevere, I can do this. That was 2 strikes, but the 3rd strike, I was like, really? We were mixing again. I was networking, obviously trying to avoid saying I was from Western Sydney. And a media representative came out and said, can we get some photos of you? And sure, groups, photos that you do in events and you've got to get exposure. And went around asking, can I have your name and where you're from? Sure. Hi, I'm Amanda Rose and I'm from Parramatta. She said, oh, dear God, can't say that. I said, sorry, what? And it was, oh no, we can't put that. Do you work somewhere else? Do you work in the city? Can we put another suburb? And I just started laughing. And I said, put what you want, right? And she did. She actually said I was from Rose Bay just to make it into a publication, right? I know. And I was like, that's it, I'm out. So on the way home, the humiliation that I felt, really hit me. And I thought, I cannot believe this has happened to me. And then I thought, why? Why am I surprised by this? This has happened to me my entire life. The fact that being from Western Sydney is I should be shamed about that. It's like there's a stain on me. I have to prove myself 100-fold or 1,000-fold just to be worthy of having a conversation. So let me ask you, if you're a student and you go out, with your friends, could be a high school student, university student, you go out with your friends to a shopping centre and there's new people and they say, oh, so where do you go to school? Do you hesitate? Or you hesitate to say what university you go to. Or they say, oh, so where are you from? And you go, I don't know if I want to say that I live in Campbelltown or I go to Penrith High School. Do you hesitate when you're asked that question? Or if you're in business and you sit in a meeting and people are talking themselves up and all of a sudden they say, oh, so where are you from? You just hesitate. You might answer, but it's that little hesitation that happens. Or they go, oh, you're from Camden. Or they say, oh, you're from Blacktown. Gee, haven't you done well for yourself coming all the way from Blacktown and now you're CEO? These are real conversations and real scenarios that are happening with people. If this has happened to you and it's happened to me and it still happens to me, except I have a different way of handling it these days, then you're a product of what I like to call the Western Sydney stigma. Now, stigma is a mark of disgrace that's been associated with a particular circumstance or a quality or a person, in this case, from Western Sydney. It's that, oh, you're from oh, you're a Westie. Anything that's derogatory and you know where it's coming from, it hits you right in the gut. And I'm sick of it. And that's essentially why I'm here today. But to help understand the stigma, I want to talk about why it was created, okay? It was created to devalue us, to divide us, and to silence us. Think about it. You've got a student who is educated or they're ambitious and they're hardworking, but they think, I'm not going to go for that opportunity because they'll find out I'm from Western Sydney. So they hesitate and don't put their hand up, right? That's eliminating competition. For someone to think that they're worth less than someone else is shocking. It's horrendous, but it's real. Dividing us. So Western Sydney is a whole bunch of different mini communities making up one large, awesome community. But if we can hear in the media or in conversation or in a meeting that this group's getting more than that group or that group's versus this group and so forth, it's called divide and conquer, right? And we can't let that happen. If we're not speaking to each other, there will be division. And to silence us. If we don't have a voice, we can't give opportunities to our families, to our businesses, to our communities. And I'm sick of being silenced. I'm sick of the fact that if you're from Western Sydney, there is a hesitation or there is some shame that is absolutely unjustified and that it's happening. And it is happening. And I'm really, really passionate about changing it. And it reminds me of a situation that I actually talked to my nieces about it, I talked to students about it, and I was recently at a university event, Western Sydney University event, and students came up to me and said, I really want to be somebody, I really want to do something, but I don't think I can. And I said, why? If you want to, do it. And they said, but I'm from Western Sydney. And I said, that's awesome that you're from Western Sydney. I said, that should mean that you are capable of doing that. And I started rattling off some people that are from Western Sydney, like your Rebel Wilson, right? Came from Parramatta. Tony Collette grew up in Blacktown. And they're like, really? We just don't know it, yeah? And it reminded me of a quote about potential, that people who repeatedly attack that your confidence and your self-esteem are well aware of your potential, even if you're not. And that's my role, to either remind you of your potential or to tell you of your potential. Because don't we have it? Western Sydney and the people of Western Sydney, not only do we have the potential, we have the power, right? And don't they know it? The power is endless. Let me tell you why. The real story of Western Sydney, hence the dollar signs. We're rich. Do you know we're one of the fastest growing urban populations in Australia? There are 2.5 million of us. There'll be 3 million by 2036. There is $35 billion worth of projects in the pipeline in our hood. We have prime ministers that were born and bred in Western Sydney. We have companies busting to set up in Western Sydney. We've got your KPMG, PwC, we've got Deloitte, NRMA, Woolworths. International companies are saying, hey, we want to be a part of that. We have the Western Sydney Airport, the Aerotropolis. That is massive and it's making global movement, essentially. Everyone's talking about it. We have a $5 billion science park that is coming. We are literally the new frontier. Western Sydney is the new frontier and we are rich. And we are rich in diversity. Do you know the people in Western Sydney come from over 170 different countries? And we speak over 100 different languages? I challenge anyone to find a more diverse region in this entire world because we are just phenomenal. Can I just say that? And we are rich in experience. We have farmers, manufacturers, professional services, health educators, universities, entrepreneurs, Olympians. We have students that have gone overseas to represent Western Sydney. This is amazing information. This is just a fraction of who we are. But no, we've been told we have to feel some shame on who we are and where we're from, when actually we should be saying, hang on a minute, I'm from the most thriving region in Australia, and I'll say the world, and I should be proud of it, right? We're rich in spirit. You just ask anyone what sporting team they go for in Western Sydney, right? And you just see them light up. We've got the Parramatta Eels, Penrith Panthers, GWS Giants, the Western Sydney Wanderers. It's like, hang on a minute, this is awesome. They light up, they're passionate. And that spirit, you can't make that up. It's just what happens when you're in Western Sydney. It's just who we are. We kind of have a ripple effect. We're contagious with our passion. But more importantly, I want to talk about the fact that we're rich in opportunity. We are surrounded by opportunities. We're often told that they're not for us. Or we see in the news as they announce something and you think, oh, that's great, but can I get involved with that? But we do. We have opportunity. We're standing on it. We're breathing it. If you just look up Western Sydney on the internet when you leave, or even any time in the next week, you will see something amazing happening. There is opportunities everywhere. But opportunity is irrelevant unless we work together to make the most of it. We've got to actually grab it with both hands. And that's why I'm here today. This is my call for us to make a change. But we need to unite. We need to unite with pride. We need to tell everyone that we're proud to be from Western Sydney. So I task you, the next meeting you go to, the next person you speak to, the next event, social, business, whatever it is, you tell people if you're from Western Sydney and you're proud of it. Maybe not in the middle of a wedding ceremony, jump up and go, yo, I'm from Bankstown, and it's awesome. Although if you do that, please record it and send it to me. If you're in a boardroom meeting and people say, where are you from? You can rattle off where you're from and say, well, where are you from? Right? Be proud of where you're from. We are the new frontier. It is absolutely thriving, but we need to unite. We need to connect with each other. We need to make sure that we're helping each other, we're supporting each other. So I mentioned we're lots of mini communities that make up one large community. Have you reached out to a different community in the last week, last month, last year? Make sure you do. Reach out to a community you've heard of and don't know what they're doing. Make an effort to know a different business, a different culture, whatever it is. We've got to eliminate this divide and conquer mentality, and we've got to work together. There are synergies everywhere. We need to understand other people's needs and wants and passions. But unless we're working together, think about it, 2.5 million people working together, yeah? United we stand and divided we fall. Exactly. So make sure we're connecting. And be informed. We need to make sure we know what's going on in our backyard and in our neighbour's backyard. What is happening in Western Sydney? Don't think, oh, it's on the news. Oh, I'm not listening to that. They're lying. Oh, it's not for me. It's politicians. Oh, I don't care about that. You should care, regardless of whether you're a student, a mother, a businesswoman, community leader. Find out what's going on and communicate it to your people and communicate it to your network. Say, did you hear about this? Or what's going on here? Read the news, go online, ask questions. Be informed as much as possible. Think about the power of uniting together, being proud from being from Western Sydney, right? Connecting and being informed. What does that mean that we can do? What's the most powerful thing we can do? Is we can speak up. We have been silenced for too long. It's, oh no, you're from Western Sydney. Oh no, you're just a small community group. Oh no, you're just a small business. Or, you know, you grew up here and, well, that's nice, sweetheart. Or that's nice, young man, and so forth. And you need to take the opportunity to say, well, I've been told by this lady that we need to work together, and I'm proud from being from Western Sydney. But if you don't speak up for your community, your family and your business, to take the opportunities that are right here, right now, we're going to miss out. We need to give opportunities to other people. Speak up for those that are vulnerable too. So if we're speaking up for ourselves, we have confidence to say, well, hang on a minute, this group's being left out. How about them? We've united, we've connected and we're informed. We need to be looking after each other, essentially. We need to speak up and say, I see that the airport's being built. My small business would like to be involved with that. Or there's a science park. I'd like to learn more about that. Or I'd like more opportunities with my education. Whatever it is, unless we're speaking up, think about it. 2.5 million people joining together in their own little way, speaking up with passion about who they are and what they want. That's extremely powerful. So my task for you is to be proud of where you're from, to remember that Western Sydney is thriving and that we are the new frontier, and to speak up for every opportunity you can for yourself, for your family, for your business, for your community, and for people that need you to speak up for them. Because we must remember that we are Western Sydney and we are the new Australia.